I'll do it tomorrow. With no business plan, with no idea, but a good salesman behind him, which was me. I came into this business with no education. Well, very little education, but just the desire, the will, and the belief in myself and the product and the chances that were given to me by the people that were around me. It was a journey because when you're working for yourself, there are a lot of dynamics. Cost of the petrol, cost of the vehicle, which brought me that I had to sell my BMW and buy a van because I couldn't go to a shop in a small BMW and put lighters in the boot of the car and try and sell it.
And you cannot convince anyone that you are
No.
you are the sales representative with a BMW. Yes,
100%.
Welcome to another Starting from Scratch episode. This is a very interesting episode. I'm very excited for today because we have together with us my first mentor in business. Starting from Scratch is all about inspiring new business owners and entrepreneurs through the stories of the people that went through. And today we have a really starting from scratch story from Africa. For those that see us for the first time, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel, Social Cast by Social Way, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Social Way, and follow myself as Orestis Michael on TikTok. Together, today, we have with us Alex Jacovides, a business owner from South Africa that managed to build multi-million businesses from scratch. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the kind words. So, where do we start?
It's an honor to have you here with me today. Actually, I was thinking, shall I text you? Shall I don't text you? I thought, okay, let's try. And you really inspired me, and you really helped me in imagine myself as a business owner and get this trip in life early in my life at 22, at the 22nd year of my life. Alex is a Cypriot, born and raised in South Africa, and he's been coming back and forth in Cyprus since 1983. So you actually saw me when I was 1 year old. You met me, and at year 22, you asked me to come in South Africa and work with you. And it was a hell of an experience. We had together in 4 months. We start from the beginnings. I'm always say that I'm inspired from the people the people that manage to make their own businesses and manage to build their own empires and their own teams and lead the team. So I'm always inspired to see if this guy made it. And that's a couple of way that he managed to make it. So maybe I shall try to. So this is actually the reason that I start this episode, the starting from scratch episode, because this is the way I got inspired to get into business and start from scratch as well and build my own business. So it's gonna be a long journey. So tell us a little bit about you at the beginning.
Okay, so I was born to my parents of Cypriot descent in South Africa, as you've already said. And unfortunately, very early in my life, my mother passed away. So I grew up a very difficult child. My father had a supermarket, and to keep me in control, he would take me to the shop every day and work with him. And I think this is where the bug of trading and talking to people and got into my bloodstream, because it was nice to be with people, serving them over the counter, selling them product, and so on and so forth. So my schooling career was Was normal, but I wasn't a very good student. And obviously, my father wanted us all to study to become professionals. My brother is a doctor today. My sister's a lawyer, and my other sister's a school teacher. And he begged me, please, you need to study. Give me 1 year. I'll sponsor you 1 year. Anyway, I decided not to study, so I went to do my military service in South Africa, which was 2 years. And when I was in the military, I met my today wife at the age of 17 and 19. We got married, to a big shock to my parents, because they thought, this is crazy. Why are you getting married so young? I fell in love and I got married.
You got married at 19, at age 19?
Yes.
Oh, the first time.
And my wife was 17.
Okay.
And anyway, so after the military, I needed to do something. My interest was very much into electronics, TV, and car radio and sound, the young hippie type stuff.
Back in the 60s, 70s?
Late 70s, early 80s.
Early 80s.
Correct. Anyway, so my father said, my boy, you have to work. You need to do something. You're now married. You got a wife, and you need to get a job. He also called my mother-in-law and he said, listen, I don't know what these kids are doing, but they seem to have money all the time, but they have to work. I don't see them going to a job. They just disappear during the day. They come back at night. They've got money. So what happened was, in that time, the currency of the country, the coins, were made out of silver. And the value of the coin was 10 times more than the actual face value of the coin. So if it was 1 rand, it was worth 10 rand in silver. And we found this out, and we used to buy all the old coins from the old people, and we used to go and sell them at the...
As a silver.
As silver, that is correct. And this is why we were making money. And my father, he didn't believe me. He thought I was dealing in drugs or something stupid or something naughty. Anyway, so my mother-in-law took my wife to the bank, and they managed to get her a job. And my father took me to a company called L. Suzman's, which was the biggest distributor of tobacco products in South Africa, a family business. Incidentally, my wife earned 100 rand more than I did per month, which was a bit of a thing in my out of joint over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to work for this company, and it was also a very interesting company selling tobacco products, candies, cigars, lighters, and everything. And here I met a very special man who was my boss. His name was Winston Berry. And we took an instant liking to each other, but we were complete opposites. He was tough and strict and a very powerful leader, and I was jovial and joking and not scared. I was the face. And what happened was...
So you start trading early in your in your life from the supermarket, and then right after you are military, you start trading silver.
Correct.
And then you get at your first job at the tobacco business.
That is correct. And I meet this guy.
So how did you enter the job? What was your position?
I was a storeman. I was just working in the stores, receiving the goods from the back door.
How did you manage to click with the boss? That's something that will help a lot of people. Like, you go to a job and you are the last wheel of the bus, and you manage to connect with the boss.
So what happens? A truck arrives at the back door, and it's full of Clippa refillable lighters. I offload them, I open the box, I look at them, and it like turns me on. They're so beautiful. They've got little designs on it, and so they get unpacked. The manager, who was my boss at the time, Winston Berry, he calls a meeting with the reps on a Friday. We put all the samples on the table. He tells them the different pack sizes and designs, whatever. And the promotion that we're going to do. And I was just basically the storeman running, fetching the samples in and out of the office. But I was listening. I was listening to every word he said, and I would run. You know, for me, when the boss spoke, you had to run. You had to quickly get everything done. Anyway, he explained to the reps that they need to go out into the trade. If they sell one stand of lighters, the customer would get a certain price. If he sold 2 stands of lighters, he would get a better price and a free radio. You know, one of these small portable radios. So, anyway.
The one that every supermarket guy had at the back
exactly,
of their...
Exactly. The battery that you put in the radio was worth more than the radio. So the reps went out, and for 6 weeks they sold quite a lot of the stock. And eventually he wasn't happy because we still had a lot of stock. And I kept on going into his office, and I said to him, can I try to sell some of these lighters? And he said to me, why would you want to sell lighters? You're a storeman. What do you know about selling? I said, give me an opportunity. I want to go out into the trade, and I want to sell lighters. Because my mind was already on that company car, being a salesman. You know, I wanted to get to the next level. And this was a way for me to prove that I could do the job. Anyway, so off I went, and I sold more lighters than all the salesmen put together. So what did I do? I went to all my friends who I knew in the town of Vereeniging, you know, the Greek people, and I said, listen, I've got a new job, and I've got this beautiful product that I'm selling, and you're buying from Suzman's. It's a no-brainer. Just put it on the counter. And people supported me, and they bought from me, and I got more and more confidence in that way into selling. Fast forward. My partner's parents left him a business in Durban, which was far away from Vereeniging. And his mother couldn't run it. And they said, listen, you need to come and take over the business, because the old lady couldn't run the business. So he had to resign, and he left. And he goes to Durban, and he took over the bottle store, and he was running it for a couple of months, maybe a year or 2, I think it was. And somebody made him an offer, and he sold it. And he called me, and he said to me, Alec, I've sold the business, I've got a bucket full of cash, and I need to do something. I said to him, why are you asking me? I'm just a salesman at Suzman's where you left me. He says to me, I'm coming back to Johannesburg. I want to come and stay with you for a few days, and we have a chat. I said, no problem. He eventually gets into an aeroplane. He went to Europe to look for a product to start selling in South Africa. In other words, he wanted to replicate a business that we already knew. So in his travels, he went to France and to Spain and I can't remember where else. And he came across a factory that was looking for a distribution agency in South Africa. He didn't understand that Flamagas was the maker of Clippa lighters.
So he signed a contract with Flamagas without knowing that
No, he didn't sign the contract yet. He went to visit them. And when he arrived at the showroom, he just saw Clippa lighters all over the place. And he said, oh my goodness, what is this? And they said, no, Suzman's no longer are selling Clippa lighters in South Africa. They gave up the agency, and we're looking for somebody to do the job. He says, I'll do it tomorrow. With no business plan, with no idea, but a good salesman behind him, which was me. And he came back to South Africa after a week or so with a box full of Clippa lighters and says to me, look what I found. I said to him, I don't believe it. He says to me, yes. I said, look, how bizarre that we meet again over the same product, the Clippa refillable lighter. So he says to me, what do you think? I said, well, you know what? That's where I got my education from in my sales in the first round.
I believe you got trained there, you got educated.
Absolutely. Suzman's was a university for me because...
How long did you stay there?
I was there from 1980 to 1984, 85. I can't remember exactly. And then in 85, I had a small shop myself for about a year. And then in 87, after Winston sold his bottle store, we met again. And then we started our company called Clippa Sales. We didn't name it, we named it after the brand, but it's not spelt the same way as the brand, because the brand is spelt Clipper, and our company's named Clippa, because we weren't allowed to use the
name.
The
yes.
name, correct.
Clippa Sales, yes.
So we,
Which is more Africa Clippa, yes?
of course.
Africa.
So anyway, we brought the first 1 pallet only of stock from Spain. Winston financed it and brought it to South Africa, and I became his rep again. I had the shop during the day, and in the afternoons I'd jump into my car and I'd go to all the shops. Said, "Hi, do you remember me? I was at Suzman selling Clipper lighters to you." "Yes, yes, yes." "Well, here I am from Clipper Sales. I'm selling Clipper lighters to you again." "Okay." And everybody started supporting me. It was a journey, because when you're working for yourself, there are a lot of dynamics. Cost of the petrol, cost of the vehicle, which brought me that I had to sell my BMW and buy a van, because I couldn't go to a shop in a small BMW and put lighters in the boot of the car and try and sell it.
And you cannot convince anyone that you are
No.
the sales representative with a BMW, yes?
100%. So by this time in 85, I mustn't get this wrong, my first daughter was born, and in 87 my second daughter was born.
All right.
So here we were, starting
With 2 kids.
2 children with a van. And I don't know if I remember telling you the story that I used to go to church in the van, the 4 of us sitting in the front, and people looked at me and they thought, "What's wrong with this family? The one boy is in the university studying to be a doctor. The other child is studying to be a teacher. The other one is studying to be
I remember this
a
story.
lawyer. And this guy comes to church in a small van, stuck in the front with his wife and 2 kids." But anyway, humble beginnings. That's how it happens. And
Sometimes you have to take a step back, yes? Sell your BMW and take a step back.
well,
It was a really a big risk to take, yes?
100%.
With 2 kids, with 2 children, and
I think the biggest secret about any entrepreneur starting a business, I must confess, I had luck on my side, where I had a person who believed in me, namely my partner, who had money, who was able to invest in the business.
Yes, that's important.
Initially, he employed me. I was not his partner. He employed me. So what we did was, and I needed to believe in myself that I could do the job, and I also needed to believe in the product. You know, a good salesman could sell anything, but a smart salesman can only sell something that he believes and trusts in. Because if you want the long haul in life, then you need to believe in yourself 100% and not waste your time on the journey. So we started selling. We were more and more successful. And after 2 years, he was my boss again. He said to me, "Listen, I really can't afford you. You're selling so much and you're earning so much money."
You are on commission?
Yes. So the pot was in my favor. He had to invest, and I was reaping the benefits. And he said to me, "What do you think if we became partners?" I said to him, "No problem. And how do you propose we do this?" And he said to me, "Well, let's count the inventory. Let's count the debtors, that people owe us money. And we split it down the middle. And you put in that amount of money, and you pay me out that amount of money, and we go 50-50 into partnership." I said to him, "Deal's on." Well, I had a 2-year head start in earnings. I was smart enough to buy my first house and pay cash for it, so that I had no debt. My vehicle was also not in debt, which is important when you want to start a business. You must try and be as free as possible so that you can invest in stock. Stock is going to be sold at a profit, and then you're going to make good money out of it. So the journey began, and our partnership began. And I
That
traveled
was 90?
87, 89 about.
89.
89 about, yes. So obviously we did a good job for Flamagas, the Clippa refillable lighter. It was only one product to sell. We also wanted
So you stick to one product, yes?
only one product for about, I can't remember, I think until about 1994, thereabouts. Because what happened then was that L. Suzman and Company decided to voluntarily liquidate the business. And Suzman's were selling many, many products, and we were familiar with those products. And these products were up for somebody to grab and
In a good price, I believe. In a good margin.
no. So what you needed to do was, if you wanted to sell Ritmeester cigars, you needed to contact the manufacturer in Holland, and you needed to present a CV of who you are and what company you are and what reach you have in the country, and that you could do the distribution for them. So, as luck would have it, we also approached some of the brands that we were selling at Suzman's, and we managed to get a few brands like Zigzag and OCB cigarette paper. We managed to get some small tobaccos and some pipes, and we tried to get a cigar brand, but other guys were too quick for us. So Villiger went to somebody else, Ritmeester went to somebody else, the Cuban cigars went to somebody else.
They were more ready than you to pick up the brand.
And our distribution was good. You know, by now we had 4 or 5 reps working for us, you know, in the different parts of the country selling ex-van, but we were not professional enough to be able to present a case.
Yes.
So then we managed to get the first cigar brand, which was from Swisher in America, the Blackstone Cherry brand and the King Edward brand. It was the first flavored cigar brand to be launched in South Africa with a cherry flavor. People thought we were mad. And we thought, if we want to be smart, we brought the first refillable lighter to the country and we made a success of it. Why not bring the first flavored cigar into the country and try and make a success of it? And, you know, the journey in business goes like this. So you ask the question to Swisher, why are you making a cherry cigar? I say, well, we follow big brands of the world and we follow what they trend in. And I said, so who did you follow? Who's trending a cherry cigar? They said, in their eyes, because they're American, Coca-Cola is a massive brand. And Coca-Cola launched a cherry cola and a vanilla cola. And they thought, why not try it? Let's launch, because cherry cola was an instant success in the Americas. I mean, you know, they've got so many people and such scale.
Yeah.
And being the first cigar to launch a cherry-flavored cigar, it was an instant success. So we thought, well,
let's try it.
Let's try it. You know, sometimes you look at smart entrepreneurs and you think, how did this guy do it? You must remember, we must always learn from others. Take the good out of the others. Yes, we're smart. I think we're more naive and thick-skinned to try it, you understand? But there's no harm in learning from others. It's the best education.
And you have to try, yes?
Absolutely.
You have to try and accept that you will fail in some points.
Absolutely.
You probably had hundreds of products. Some of them failed. Yes, it's not like some of them didn't go so well. So it's not like, because many people are afraid of failure, afraid of lose, afraid of. But
yeah,
part of the journey is also this. Yes.
If you do not fail, you don't learn. So you're 100% right. You know, we always. I'm a person that always reads small print, Facebook, news, headlines, trends. You know, you have to look at what's going on in and around you, and you build like that. And when we launched the Blackstone Cherry cigar, then Fisherman Friend came on board, And when we looked in their portfolio, they had a cherry-flavored fisherman friend. And we said to them, please, we want the cherry flavor. And they said, no, the strategy has to be like this. We have the 4 best flavors in your country. And Fisherman Friend is another powerful, iconic brand since 1865 from the UK, where they follow a model of keep it simple, stupid. The KISS model. They're very simple. They've hardly changed their packaging since 1865.
Or their brand, yes?
No, not at all.
Their logo. Yes.
It's unbelievable. And I'm not ready to end my conversation with you, but my pitch would go like this. When you build a business, you need to build it for the long haul. It's not just for today. Coca-Cola was built in the I can't remember now exactly, and they are one of the biggest brands of the world today. Continues, long haul. And these iconic brands like Coca-Cola, like Marlboro, like Chupa Chups, like the Mini motor vehicle, the Fiat, Mentos, Pears Candy. These are all old iconic brands, most of them born in 1959. And the crazy thing is, I was also born in 1959. So I have this huge passion about brands that were born in 1959. Even Clippa was born in 1959. So it's like a complete fit at the end of the day as to how things happen. And it's exciting. You make your life exciting for yourself. You build, you add on. Once you've got this nice big business together and you've got your logistics sorted out, to add on another product onto the truck is not that difficult, but it needs time to get to that point.
It needs time and patience.
100%.
It took you 15 years from the day that you start, I believe, like 1980s, to 1990s to create this. Yes?
Yeah, 100%.
And to become a partner 50-50. But you had patience and you had to prove yourself again and again and again, every day.
And the belief. You need to believe in yourself. And so, school journey. You start in your primary school and you go there for 7 years. When you get to high school, you go back to zero again. When you go to high school, you've got children that are in standard 10 that are now senior to you, so you go back to zero, and then you start the journey again. When you finish your high school, those that go to university, they start from zero again. We went to the military. Oh, my goodness. When you go to the military, you're not zero.
You're below zero.
Yeah. I also believe that the military was a good place for me because I'm a little bit OCD. I like everything clean and tidy. So the military was a great space for me because everything had to be clean, neat, and tidy, and we all had to be equal. So no one could have a dirty room or dirty clothing lying around anyway. Although I struggled in the beginning in the army because I came from a Greek home where we ate good food all day and every day, and we even asked Mum to take us to, or my dad to take us to the shop, which was only 1 kilometer away. Whereas in the army, you just ran and ran and ran and ran. I tell you, when my father came to visit me in the army, after about 9 weeks, he didn't recognize me. I was half the size. He says, "Oh my God, what did they do to you?" I said to him,
"They don't feed me."
"Dad, apart from not feeding us, we have to run everywhere." So that's...
I can imagine Africa 19.
Yeah, no, things have changed since then. So we've got this wonderful business today where we employ north of 250 people. We have a lot of vehicles on the road, branded, running around.
You cover all South Africa and Namibia?
Right through, from the north to the south, east to the west. We have a turnaround time for delivery between 24 and 48 hours, anywhere in the country. We have one central warehouse where all the stock arrives from all the countries in the world.
A huge part of a business is managing employees.
Big time.
What is your point of view on this?
So,
Like to have a business with 250 employees and know that everyone is like doing what has to do, and he's motivated, she's motivated, and they want to do what they do. They are happy. They have their own problems, their own tasks, their own visions, their own. So how do you lead?
So when I worked for Suzman's, I wondered how the big bosses at the top understood what so many people, because we had 65 branches all around South Africa, and there were many, many people, and I wondered, how do they know what everybody is doing? But they were smart people. You know, when you build a business like that, to your question, you have to motivate people, you have to look after their emotions, their health, their well-being, you know. And so when the big boss from Suzman's used to come to my branch, he would take me for lunch. And I thought that was such an honor, you know, because by now, after I was a salesman, I actually became a manager for the company, for one of the branches. They moved me to a small town, and they would take us for lunch. So that sat with me when we started our own business. And our first meetings that we ever had, we used to have them on a Friday afternoon in my house. All the salespeople would come home. We would tell them to unwind. They were welcome to bring their wives and their kids with them. And it was like a social event where we interacted with their families, got to know who they were, what their needs and desires were. And we keep that still today in our business. In fact, when we need somebody, we actually ask the staff, does anybody have a brother or a sister or a son or a daughter that's looking for a job? It doesn't always work, because you almost want to blame Orestis for Damiano's behavior or his performance. It doesn't always work like that. But sometimes it does work in your advantage, because Orestis is going to say to Damiano, listen, you can't jeopardize my credibility in this business. This is a nice big family business. We still remain and behave in a family-orientated manner. So we motivate our staff. We help them where we can. We have facilities where they can stay near to the office, houses that we own, and we allow them to use the transportation to work and back. The drivers are coming through to the office in the afternoon. They can pick up a team of people and take them home, and so that it's no extra cost for them. We try our very best to keep the motivation amongst the staff up. We dress them so that they're all in a nice uniform and they look good. There's no discrimination between a driver and a manager. They all wear the same shirt. So we expose ourselves as equal. And there's no whenever we employ people, we tell them that there's a step ladder in this building, and it's up to you how you climb that step ladder. As your performance, you can climb up. If you don't want to climb, then you can stay a driver, or you can stay a packer, or a sweeper, or a cleaner, or whatever, a merchandiser. But
that's the best way to do it, yes?
100%. It's up to you.
To show them the way, and if you want to walk. If you don't want to walk.
100%. We open to ideas. We don't have a suggestion box, because a suggestion box could be quite dangerous, where people can make millions of suggestions and drive you crazy. We say, if you're working in a specific department and every day you walk past this corner of the table and every day it bumps your leg and you've got a big blue mark on your leg, and you come with a suggestion, say, can we not move the table back a meter, or can we make this corner round? You understand? And that's how we want people to think, or when they're doing deliveries on the road and they come back and they say, you know what, you're packing my van for me, but you're packing it the wrong way. For instance, I know this doesn't happen because we encourage the driver, go to the furthest point first and work your way back to your exit point. You know, why do you want to finish 100 or 200 kilometers away from the office and then still come home? Now you're chasing the clock and you're rushing and all that.
Yes.
Our salespeople as well, when we started, you know, I traveled the whole of South Africa before I handed it over to different reps. As you know, you witnessed and experienced that in Namibia, in Botswana, and so on and so forth. So we would travel.
So you know every corner before you set up a route for a representative.
Basically, I won't say every single route in South Africa, but I would say 50% of the network in South Africa. In our early days, Winston and I set it up, and we understood it and knew it exactly how we did it from day one. Yeah, it's and there are other companies that have similar stories. You know, we become friends with other distributors of other brands, and we share stories
And expertise, yes.
You know, I believe you mustn't have enemies. I believe you must only have friends. And even your enemy, you keep him close, because then you can watch and see what he does. So we
keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Closer.
Yes?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no. Look, it's been an amazing journey. Today we distribute 40 different brands from all over the world.
I believe you. Let's touch another point as well that is very interesting nowadays. You also witness the digital transformation, yes?
Absolutely.
So how that transformed your business and your logistics and everything? How is that?
Initially, it was difficult because it came at a price, and
it was high at the beginning. Yes?
Very, very high. So it definitely works because data through digital transformation and so on and that you on a dashboard you can see who's performing, who's not performing, and also trends of
products and
yes, like a flavor, a cherry flavor could be dominant in the south and not in the north for some unknown reason, because in South Africa we have 11 ethnic groups and we have a plethora of international people: Greek, Portuguese, English, Afrikaans, Jewish, German, Dutch, and not all.
So the dynamics are very
huge. They are
huge. It can be the representative in an area, it can be the religion, it can be whatever, yes?
Absolutely. You almost have to pick the character to work in a specific area. You know, if he speaks more of a different language to the others. Look, English is your number one spoken language in South Africa, but if you, by example, in the Western Cape cannot speak Afrikaans, then you are going to struggle, because that is a very big and strong Afrikaans community, even amongst the colored people. It's their first language. So it's important, you know. That is very important. So digital transformation for us, we do have a social media house that does our work for us, where we shoot out newsletters to clients. We have a sort of an online shop on some brands, because remember, we cannot compete with our customers. So we shouldn't be selling our products directly to consumers.
Yes.
But we have like an online shop which sells it at retail price. It works. It's maybe 8% of our turnover in a specific brand. And yes, the digital transformation and world is definitely something that you need to be in with today. Because if you're not there, you out of that.
You're going to be out of business.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, years ago, people were advertising on national television and in the cinema and on billboards on the side of the highway. Yeah, they still work, but Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
It's a completely different game, and it's more direct. It's more.
One needs to be careful as well that you don't have a loose head doing your work for you and portraying the wrong message out there, because you can get it wrong.
You need to,
You think your business is easy. It's as difficult as all our businesses. You have to choose the right person for the right job. And that person has to be professional, has to be on point. He needs to say the right things at the right time, because your audience could be an old audience, let's say Fisherman Friend, because it's an old iconic brand, and it's an older audience, maybe 40s and 50s and up, and here you're trying to speak at an 18-year-old.
As a youngster. It's if you. I start my question as a general digital transformation, but if we're taking it to social media, because it's my expertise as well, it's very important to have a strategy for social media, because the main issue in social media is the people that are the professionals of the social media, the people that are handling social media. There is high rotation. It's a very difficult job, as far as we don't want to believe it is difficult or is something very difficult to do. And the main issue in the industry now on a global level is that every company is having someone young that is doing it maybe on the side, that is doing it part-time, or is doing like as a secretary, and is doing the social media as well, etc., etc. They don't know marketing. Then there is no strategy. Or maybe you have an agency in South Africa, and that's the best way to do it if you are in the scale of your business. But most of the business that they are not 250 people, maybe they are 10 people or 20 people or 10 people, they have this issue. And the way to do it is to have a strategy.
Absolutely. I mean, if you do an advert for a TV campaign, from start to finish, you have to have a strategy. You can't just arrive.
Yes, there you invest though. You know that you invest 100K. You invest, so you definitely have people that will think about it, that they will design it, and have the strategy. On social media, you can just right now post something, and you believe that it's okay. I'm feeling happy now, and I'm gonna say something happy about Fisherman Friends.
Yes.
And wow, but the other person on the other side of the telephone that is looking at you doesn't know that it's Alex that is feeling happy because in Cyprus and he just posted something for. So strategy and plan is very important, because it's not as easy as it is to make it. It's as easy as it is to break it.
Exactly. What about influencers? What has your experience been with influencers that have a lot of followers?
There is a thing now with micro influencers and big influencers. So there are the big influencers that have millions and thousands of followers, that they are probably TV personalities or in the industry, and they charge a lot. So you don't know how much return you get on your investment. And there are micro influencers as well, which there are people that are the normal next door guy or girl that has 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers, and they are in the rise. So brands now, they diversify their budget. Instead of giving like a big chunk to one influencer, to give it to 5 smaller influencers, like in local communities that they want to. Let's say you have one product in the south that is not working very well, so you get 3 influencers, and you try to change their perception of the product in that area. You don't need the big influencer that will make a nationwide exposure. In my point of view, from the beginning, it's all about the content. Of course, they work hard to create a following and to have people that believe in them. So this is what you need to get out as a business. If you have them create a content, and you as a business be able to use it on your channels and be able to broadcast it as you want it within your strategy, it creates a multiplying effect. So it's helping, and it always used to be like that. Like before, the influencers were 5: TV, magazine, and radio. So it was the radio producer that will call you on a radio interview, or in the magazine, they will call you to make an interview. That was the influencer. Now we have more influencers. So that's how I see it.
So it never stops. The ball keeps rolling, and you just got to stay with it.
It's very challenging. It's very challenging, and this is actually the reason, I don't have it here, maybe I should bring it, that I created the Orestis method.
Okay, I've seen one or two already.
Yes, because this method, it will help social media marketeers to stop running behind whatever is coming. They will be able to build their own strategy, and if something can be added value in your strategy, you can add it. If it doesn't, you don't need to run behind it. That's the way, because I'm doing this for 14 years now, and this is how I managed to stable my business, and many other agencies to be true. You know, it's not something like I invented the wheel again. What I did is I put it in a framework, and I analyze it. So it's easy to go and spend 2 hours, 6 hours, and learn what basically every agency that charge a lot of money is
Back
doing.
to basics, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
I must say I'm very proud of you, because I remember when you arrived in South Africa as a little boy, and I threw you into the back of a container, and I said to you in Greek, "Show these buggers how strong you are." And after a while, you took your shirt off and you said, "It's bloody hot in here." I said, "Of course." Oh my goodness, it's been a wonderful journey, and I also believe that as human beings, we mustn't be afraid to share our experiences and help people. It's something that is very important. You need to share, you need to help people, and don't expect anything in return.
I also have to say that I'm very honored again. I believe what you done for me, it's something that it's not easy to pay back. Like to bring me in South Africa for 3 months, host me in your house, give me your Mercedes, to go around and teach me. It was actually a big university. I learned a lot. Thank you very much. Honestly, thank you very much. It was a really big thing for me, and I hope I will make you proud, and I hope I will be able to pay back on your children and your grandchildren one day.
Only a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We came to the end. I'm grateful that we managed to wrap your story in 45 minutes. And now, as we close, give me your last message for someone that is looking at us and he's thinking that maybe I should start this business, maybe I should do it, maybe I should make this start in my life. or not. So what do you will say to him or her?
So definitely in our journey, we always said that hard work equals profit. If you don't put in the hours, you're not going to get the result. You have to put in the hours. But you also have to make sure that the hours are spread between your work and your family. And you've got to keep a balance in that. So hard work equals profit. And, well, something that I can mention, everything needs a sacrifice. If you want to be religious, you need to sacrifice a few hours a day and go to a church or to your bedroom and pray. If you want to have good health, you have to sacrifice the time to make sure that you eat properly and you exercise enough so that your health can be prolonged. If you want a very good marriage, it also requires a sacrifice, because we are no two people are the same. And you need to be able to give and take. It's not 50-50, it's 100%, 100%. And
The
so
same comes with a business, yes?
it's the same thing with a business. If you don't put in the hours, you're not going to get the result. And it can be done. I mean, I came into this business with no education. Well, very little education. But just the desire, the will, and the belief in myself and the product and the chances that were given to me by the people that were around me. And whenever I when people give me a presentation or a gift or a thank you or something, I always tell them that I might be the one in the front, but behind me, there's 250 other people that make this big wheel turn. And that is the success of this entire project and business today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. It was really a pleasure. Thank you for staying with us. For those that are here with us yet, hit the subscribe button, Social Cuts by Social Way, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Social Way, and on TikTok as Orestis Michael.